we have our heading. Here we go! From the magic within our hearts to the adventure beyond the horizon, there is only one kingdom of isolation. Happy Christmas, my fellow Disney fans, and welcome to the first episode of Mickey's Subsidiaries. A spin-off that is going to be looking at the films that are under the Walt Disney banner from the various studios and companies that are under Disney's umbrella. So, yes, this means we are going to be starting to expand to look at the films from Fox or 20th Century Studios, as they're now known. And of course, their other studio, Searchlight Pictures. And that also means as well, folks, in the near future, we're going to start looking at the Star Wars films and the Marvel films as well. So we're going to have more content for you guys to be entertained with. And yes, this is this year's Christmas special. The first episode of Mickey's Subsidiaries is also this year's Christmas special, because I can see by this iconic house, we're of course talking about Home Alone, released in 1990 by 20th Century Fox. Now, this is another one of those films, much like Mary Poppins, which I covered last year, is one of those films that's a firm staple of the Christmas TV schedules as well. Christmas Eve on Channel 4 and Christmas Day for Home Alone 2. Shameless TV schedule plug aside, time to introduce you to my guest for this year's Christmas special. Now, he's been with me a couple of times previously in the Kingdom of Isolation, covering Atlantis: The Lost Empire and Treasure Planet. Both of those episodes will be out in due course, because I've still got to get through the backlog of episodes to get edited and uploaded. And I'm also recording this before I get the Lilo and Stitch episode recorded. So we're going to work out a day next week to get that episode done, because much like this film, Lilo and Stitch is an absolute gem from Disney's catalog. We're recording this on December 22nd, so I'm cutting it fine as far as getting it out in time for Christmas, folks.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Say what?
What did he say?
Get on with it!
Wish granted.
Anyway, I've got Jamie back. So Jamie, welcome back.
Thanks, Fraser. Thanks for having me here. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
so yeah, as I said, Home Alone, a firm staple of the Christmas schedules every year, and it's easily up there as one of the best Christmas films ever made for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tradition to watch it every year, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, much like the Kingdom of Isolation episodes that everybody, the main Kingdom of Isolation series that everybody knows, we're going to be going through this film beat for beat, go through the cast, what they've been in previously, get a bit of behind the scenes trivia in there as well. So these Mickey Subsidiaries episodes, they're going to operate like your Kingdom of Isolation episodes. We're just expanding what we're going to be covering from here on out, which does also run the risk of more copyright issues in terms of showing clips from the film. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best with what I've got, and we'll take from there. So anyway, let's see if we can stop these wet bandits. Now, right out the gate, once we get the 20th Century Fox logo out of the way, of course, the music in this film is it's a fantastic soundtrack. And who else would create such a whimsical soundtrack with a bit of mystery in it other than the mighty John Williams? This is the first time we're actually going into detail regarding John Williams' legendary
career. Because, I mean,
I
where
never
do
did
we?
did Home Alone.
Well, let's just say, where do we begin with his resume? Because with this, we could with his resume, much like Hans Zimmer, I could be here all day. Now, he has done numerous. He's done numerous studio albums. A lot of them involving the Boston Pops Orchestra. The most recent one involving that orchestra was Summon the Heroes back in 1996. And he also helped with the music for the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, interestingly.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you guys are here to but anyway, as far as his resume is concerned, you guys are wondering what films he's done over the years. So let's go through them. So his first soundtrack was for a TV series called Checkmate in 1960. And then his first film was 3 years later, 1963, with Diamond Head. And now to go through some of the others that he's done. He's done Goodbye, Mr. Chip. He did Fiddler on the Roof in 1971. Fantastic soundtrack, especially If I Were a Rich Man. And of course, Jaws in 1975. Yes. And yes, folks, the theme for that film still unsettles me to this very day. That is the mark of a great soundtrack.
The thing I find funny / creepy about that soundtrack is that it's creepy. If you hear the whole song, it's creepy, and then like halfway through it, there'll be a wee jingle of a niceness, and then it'll be creepy again.
Yeah,
like
unsettling. Because the fact it's just those two notes. As soon as you hear those two notes, you're just like, uh-oh.
Shark boy.
But yeah, he's also done. He's also been part of the Star Wars franchise. He did the Jaws sequel, Jaws 2, in 1978. The same year he did Superman.
Superman.
Well, yeah,
in my opinion, the greatest comic book theme of all time.
Oh, absolutely, definitely hard to argue that one. I mean that is just such an iconic theme, like you said, Jamie. Raiders of the Lost Ark. So he's been involved with Indiana Jones as well. Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. E.T. in 1982, which is also celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. God, that makes me feel old saying that.
And if I'm not mistaken, he also did my mum's favorite film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Indeed, he did back in 1977.
Yes.
So yeah,
it's a good film.
Yeah, and let's just say we're not even close to being done with how much work John Williams has done. He's done Empire of the Sun, 1987. Hold on there. Hook, a year after Home Alone came out in 1991. JFK, 1992. Two amazing films from 1993. One being Jurassic Park, and the other being Schindler's List. So two phenomenal films from that year. But I will say, Schindler's List is a tough watch, to say the least.
I could be totally wrong, but did John Williams win an Oscar for Schindler's List?
Indeed, he did. Yes, but he did. So there's an interesting thing regarding John Williams, because I've heard it brought up a couple of times. He was very hesitant about doing Schindler's List to begin with, but director Steven Spielberg said, if anybody can produce music for this film, it's you. So
also, I think it's because he's a good friend of Steven Spielberg, given previous films.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of films that both Williams and Spielberg collaborated on. A few of them I've already mentioned. Jurassic Park, I mentioned.
Close Encounters, was that Spielberg?
Pretty sure it was, yes. Let's see, Jaws was another one. Steven Spielberg, interestingly, he directed the Indiana Jones films as well.
Oh, no way. No.
Yeah, and in 1998, one of the greatest war films ever made, Saving Private Ryan, which controversially lost the Best Picture Oscar that year to Shakespeare in Love, which was a massive shock to the system for a lot of people. The Patriots as well. AI, artificial intelligence, starring Haley Joel Osment. And he's also helped with providing the music for the Harry Potter series,
Yes.
with both the Sorcerer's Stone, the Chamber of Secrets, and the Prisoner of Azkaban. As
You're
well.
not British philosophers.
Yeah. And of course, he also did Minority Report, another film directed by Steven Spielberg, I believe, and also Catch Me If You Can, starring Tom Hanks. I'll just double check those quickly. Yep, Minority Report was Steven Spielberg. Catch Me If You Can, I believe, was directed by someone else. Let me double check. No, that was another Steven Spielberg film. So yeah, this is the thing you've got to take into account, guys. If there's a film that is directed by Steven Spielberg, there's a very high likelihood you're going to have John Williams doing the music.
Yeah.
What else has he done? Another Tom Hanks film, The Terminal, in 2004, War of the Worlds 2005, Memoirs of a Geisha, and Munich that same year as well. Munich, based on the Munich Olympic massacre in 1972. What else does he do? Adventures of Tintin, Secret of the Unicorn in 2011, Warhorse the same year, Lincoln in 2012, and then when the Star Wars sequel trilogy started coming out in 2015, the first Star Wars film under the Disney banner. But like I said, we'll get to the Star Wars films in due course. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, The Post as well, the BFG, which was a remake of the animated film that starred David Jason originally. Yeah, it was David Jason. Yeah, David Jason, who was the BFG in the original film. He did. John actually had a film score come out earlier this year. In fact, The Fabelmans, actually. Oh no, that actually just came out just a few weeks ago. As a matter of fact, is the film out yet? As a matter of fact, yeah, that film is out right now. The Fabelmans is out right now, and lo and behold, another one directed by Steven Spielberg. So, so yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, John Williams has a phenomenal resume and numerous awards to his name, a number of Oscars, as well for the music that he has done. I'm actually gonna try and see.
I find it funny, in '94, John Williams was up against John Williams for the best sound in the Oscars.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah, is a valid point. Yeah, here we go. Let's see what he's won. Let's see what Oscars he's won. Let's have a look. Academy Awards. Let's see. This is going to be interesting. So, Fiddler on the Roof, Jaws, Star Wars, E.T., Schindler's List. So yeah, he's got 5 Oscars. He's got 5 Oscars to his name, and that is among the. I wish I was kidding when I say this. 52 Oscar nominations he's had for his music over the years. He's had a career that spanned 60 plus years, and he's had 52 Oscar nominations, winning 5 in the process.
I'm so bummed he didn't win one for Superman. That theme is so iconic.
Yeah, it is a shame, but hey ho, not much we can do about that. But anyway, so we get introduced to the McAllister family, and it's just all manner of chaos because they are trying to get everything sorted. They're heading to Paris for their Christmas holiday, and then you've got this guy who's supposedly a cop, and we'll find out why he's somebody else later. Portrayed, of course, by Joe Pesci.
Can't think of a more better character to be in a kids film.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's had a pretty lengthy career as well. His most recent role was back in 2019 with The Irishman. He was
I've seen that.
Yeah, he was Leo Getz in the Lethal Weapon. He was lethal in Lethal Weapon 4. He was in Casino in 1995. He would actually reprise. He would actually return in Home Alone 2 because his character's name is simply Harry. He would actually reprise that role in Home Alone 2. He was David Ferry in JFK in 1991. Goodfellas in 1990. A fantastic film. If you guys haven't had a chance to see that one yet, he was also interestingly, he was also Mr. Big in the music video for Smooth Criminal. So yeah, he's been in the Michael Jackson music video, folks.
He was in I forget the name of the film, but he was a lawyer to the Karate Kid in a film once. The actor who plays the Karate Kid.
I don't see the Karate Kid. I don't see the Karate Kid on his resume.
Oh no, sorry. The actor of that plays the Karate
Ralph
Kid.
Macchio. Ralph Macchio.
He was a lawyer to him in a film of some kind.
Let me double check that quickly. My Cousin Vinny. That's the one.
No, that's it. Yes, that's a good film as well.
My Cousin Vinny. So there we go. That's another one added to the what's this? Yeah, Vinny Gambini. That's the character that Joe portrayed. But yeah, he's had a very extensive career. One of his earliest roles was back in 1980 when he played Joey in Raging Bull, which also starred an actor that he would often collaborate with alongside director Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro. So definitely not bad going for definitely not bad going for Joe Pesci.
Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci have done quite a lot of gangster films together.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And of course Martin Scorsese directing a lot of them as well at the same time. So there's a lot of chaos, and Kevin bothering his parents, and just oh my God, the attitude that's coming out of Kevin. Yeah, I think we all know one kid at some point in our lives that has had the same attitude problems, if you will. But of course, Kevin McAllister, portrayed, of course, by Macaulay Culkin. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way. Everybody knows this fan theory, but for those that don't, we'll get into it. We'll get into the fan theory in a bit more detail when we get to the traps. So we'll keep that fan theory on the back burner for the moment, and we'll bring it back out when it's nice and ready. So anyway, Macaulay Culkin, what has he been in? He's not had that many credits, but a lot of his most prolific roles were when he was a kid in the 1990s.
He did. He was Uncle Buck.
Yes.
In Uncle Buck.
He was in Uncle Buck alongside somebody else that was also in that film as well. He was Miles Russell in 1989, a year before landing the role in Home Alone. He was, although he was uncredited for it, he was also in the Michael Jackson video Black or White as well. So there was somebody else that was in a Michael Jackson music video. That same year, he was also in My Girl, and oh my word, every time somebody brings up My Girl, I am just not ready to go through the heartache of what happens to him at the end of the film. It's just,
I've never seen it, but I know what happens. So.
It's too gut wrenching to go into detail, folks. But anyway, he would reprise his role as Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2.
He was in he was Richie Rich, wasn't he? Or something.
Indeed, he was in 1994, the same year. He was Richard Tyler in The Page Master as well. I'm trying to remember who else. I know there was a prolific name that was in Christopher Lloyd. That's the prolific name. Yeah, The Page Master alongside Christopher Lloyd in 1994. He was in an episode of Will and Grace. He was in Frasier.
There was also another film, I believe, a film that I only saw a clip on YouTube, but he's got his brother, but Macaulay Culkin's a real psychopath or something like that, and his mother, at the end, they're both hanging off a cliff because he always fought his brother because he wanted to kill his brother so he can the whole attention can be on him. So the brother and him's hanging off a cliff, holding by the mum, and she can't bring up both. So she lets Macaulay go because he's a psychopath.
Pleasant.
Yeah, I forget the name of the film, but it was a bit weird.
I'm sure somebody will point it out in the comments.
Yeah.
But his most recent roles have been a handful of episodes of American Horror Story in 2021, where he portrayed Mickey. He was Harmon Freeman in another TV series for a couple of episodes, The Righteous Gemstones, and he was the voice of Downtown Pat in Intergalactic earlier this year, as well. Which, lo and behold, is actually a Netflix film. If you guys haven't had a chance to see it yet, that film's on Netflix right now. If you're wanting to get something ticked off your watch list.
There was a big gap between his acting career for obvious reasons, so that everyone knows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but we're not. But I'm not going to go into too much detail regarding that because, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it all reaches a point where he ends up saying that he would rather be alone. So yeah, very just very problematic, to say the least. But interesting.
It's a 9-year-old child. It's the mind of a 9-year-old child. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, you say he's got the mindset of a, well, he's 8 years old in the film, but even at that, still. Interestingly, Joe Pesci actually told Internet Weekly, and yes, I've got a lot of behind-the-scenes trivia on this film, so bear with me, folks. Everyone on set was amazed with how mature and professional Macaulay Culkin was. Joe Pesci told Entertainment Weekly, Mac is not a 9-year-old, he's an old man already. So yeah, Macaulay Culkin, 9 years old when he was making the film. So I mean, how often do you get a 9-year-old kid that has so much maturity and professionalism to be able to work alongside a lot of these big names?
Yeah, he's got that level of acting in him, I suppose.
Very true. Yeah. Let's say his parents. His parents are. You've got Peter, portrayed by the late John Hurd, who passed away in 2017. But he's had a pretty extensive career as well. There's actually been deleted scenes from Home Alone that have actually been released as part of the 25th anniversary edition of the film on DVD. I haven't had a chance to go through them yet, but outside of Home Alone, one of his most well-known roles was in the infamous Sharknado, folks.
I was going to mention that. He was in the best movie of all time, Sharknado.
Yeah. He was also in a horror film called Would You Rather in 2012, where he had the role of Conway, and that film was actually covered on their Dead Meets Kill Count series. And he's of course James has said that it is a very, very bleak film, alongside the likes of The Mist, especially with how bleak the ending is.
You've never seen The Blob. That's more bleak.
Yeah.
That's just me.
He's been in a few TV series for the odd episode or two. Hack, Law and Order. There's not really much that's really.
Yeah, he's not done a whole lot in his career.
Well, not much in the way that stands out. Anyway, but he would reprise his role as Peter McAllister in Home Alone 2. He had the role of Paul in another Tom Hanks film, Big, which is also on Disney Plus. I'll get around to doing that one in due course.
Oh yeah. Oh.
He was also in an episode of Miami Vice as well in 1986. His first role was his first role was back in 1975 in a TV movie called Valley Forge as Mr. Harvey. But Catherine O'Hara is the Kevin's mum. Bear with me. Kate is the name of Kevin's mother. Now she's had a lot more well-known. She's had a lot more well-known roles throughout her career. Next year, she's going to be in an episode of Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock. So that I can only assume that would be a reboot of sorts. She was in an animated Addams Family movie in 2019 as Grandma Frump. She was in the Netflix TV series of A Series of Unfortunate Events as Dr. Orwell. She's also been involved with Studio Ghibli with the role of an elderly lady in When Marnie Was There in 2014. A Monster in Paris in 2011. She's been in another Disney project in the form of Mrs. She's had 3 roles in that film: Mrs. Frankenstein, Weird Girl, and The Gym Teacher in 2012. An episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm as Bam Bam in 2009. She's even been in a Barbie film, of all things, folks, as the voice of Rowena in Barbie in the 12 Dancing Princesses. She was also in Brother Bear 2 as the voice of Kata. She was the mum in Monster House that same year. She was the voice of Penny in Over the Hedge. And oh boy, every time I see this film pop up on somebody's resume, it just makes me dread the day I actually have to cover the film. She was in Chicken Little as well. I am not looking forward to covering that film at all.
Don't worry, folks, I'll take over because I like that film.
Oh boy. Oh, Lord help me on that one.
I used to watch it a bunch when I was a kid, when it first came out.
Oh boy. Right. Anyway, she was also in the Jim Carrey film of A Series of Unfortunate Events as Justice Strauss in 2004.
Is that one where he's an uncle to a niece, nephew, and a child, or something like
that? Possibly. It's been a while since I've seen that film.
Yeah, I've seen it.
She was Lud Miller in Bartok the Magnificent, which was a spin-off of the which was like a spin-off direct-to-video sequel, if you will, of Anastasia. And don't worry, folks, that's another film I'm going to get around to covering in due course. She was the voice of Sal. She's actually been in The Kingdom of Isolation previously, where she was the voice of Sally and Shock in The Nightmare Before Christmas. I forgot about that. So there we go. There's
one film that I've never seen all the way through.
Yeah, so there's that. Dick Tracy in 1990, the same year Home Alone came out. She's had a few TV appearances as well. SCTV channel, SCTV Network 90, Second City TV. So that'll be, and that's what it stands. That's what it stands. That's what the SCTV stands for. Second City TV. That's what it is. And her first role was also on TV. The Wayne and Schuster Show in 1975. So yeah, she's had a pretty extensive career as well. So, but yeah, pizza delivery guy comes, 122.50. Yeah, that's a lot for pizza. That is a lot of money just for
No mouse to
what?
feed.
That's very true. And one of the kids decides, let's have a little bit of fun. Smug grin on his face after drinking a little bit of the Pepsi that they have. Oh
Filler.
boy. Yeah, but out of everybody in that household, Buzz is the one I hate the most.
Don't you know how to knock, phlegmwad? I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass.
Well, yeah, we did. But if you want any, somebody's gonna have to barf it all up, because it's gone.
Fun fact, talking about Filler. Do you know that he's actually played by Macaulay Culkin's brother?
I did actually pick up on that when going through the cast. Yeah, so yeah, that's interest. That's very interesting for those that may not have known that one there prior to.
Yeah. If you look at them closely, you can kind of see the similarities in terms of
Oh,
facial
definitely,
features.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
So,
So
Buzz.
there was definitely that to take into account as well. So, but yeah, Buzz decides to eat the pizza, the cheese pizza that was meant to be for Kevin, and decides to be an absolute jerk about it, for lack of a better term. And 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 he pretends to barf it all up. To which Kevin decides that's it and just tackles into him, knocking everything all over the place. And there is one point where Uncle Frank goes, "Look what you did, you little jerk!" But interestingly, it wasn't actually Kevin that knocked over the pizza, the Pepsi. Because if you actually pay close attention to the scene, if you watch the movie again carefully, it's Peter that's seen knocking over the bottle of Pepsi, spilling it over Frank's lap, rather than Kevin.
You would think though he still said it because he was the one that, in a way, started the fight.
That's a valid point. That's a very valid point. So yeah.
Can we just back up a bit? I think we've missed a key character in a way. I forget his full name, but he was the Gritter guy, the old Gritter guy.
Oh, old Marv. Yes. Yeah. Buzz
No,
tells him.
Marv is the Harry's.
No. Wait, hang on. He's definitely in here somewhere. He's definitely.
Old Man Winters, is that his name?
Hang on a minute. Marley. I knew it started with an M. Old Man Marley, portrayed by Robert Blossom. Buzz decides to tell this scary story about how Marv is supposedly a killer and manages to hide the evidence in the salt he uses when shoveling everybody's walkways. So yeah, thanks for the nightmare fuel, Buzz.
And it's kind of funny to me in a way because the only other film I've known him previously do before Home Alone was Christine.
Yes, another film that was covered on the Kill Count.
Yes, he was the guy that originally had Christine. He sold it to Arnie. So the creepy factor was always there.
True. Yeah.
And it had this weird organ music as they always show Old Man Marley.
Yeah. Testament to the talent of John Williams there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's it. Kate says to Kevin to just go up to the top floor to stay up there for the rest of the night. And it all culminates with Kevin saying, "I hope I never see any of you ever again." Which, yeah, yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing for the upcoming events, folks. And you actually hear in a voiceover clip that that he wishes his family would disappear. And as it turns out, this whole chain reaction, you have the wind starting to pick up, a branch falls off a tree that's hanging over a power line, wipes out the power, which then causes everybody to sleep in while they're waiting for the pickup coaches to pick them up and take them to the airport. As soon as they hear the doorbell go, they check the clock because the clock had been reset. Then they check their watch, and just they
slept in.
Yeah, and then brilliant editing here just to emphasize the chaos. Because let's just say their plane departs in 45 minutes. No pressure then.
That would not work post 9/11.
No, of course not. Of course not. Because of course it's always stated that you should be at the airport 2 hours prior to your flight's departure.
Yes.
Well, that's over here in the UK anyway. I'm not sure what the rules will be over stateside. They might be the same. They might be different. Who knows? Anyway, in the rush to try and get everybody sorted for heading to the airport, we don't find out until they are essentially over the Atlantic, heading to Paris. Because yes, they did manage to get to the plane in time. Just that they somehow left Kevin behind. And it's just the reaction from it's just the reaction from Kate at that point.
Yeah.
Just
it's because they were at the vans. They were doing the count, and there was that nosy neighbor kid from that came in and searched all the bags for no reason at all. And the big sister
that kid just
Kevin,
would not stop asking questions.
Yeah. Imagine Macaulay Culkin's scene from Uncle Buck. Where do you live? A house. How big is it? Very.
Yes. Yeah, that whole scene. Yeah, very, very valid point. Yeah. But also
yeah, so the big sister thought it was him because all he saw was the back of the head.
Yeah, there is that to take into account as well. But yeah, I think initially Kevin's actually happy that he's actually managed to make his family disappear, and you just see him celebrating. Just yeah, but the problem then arises when he decides to eat a lot of ice cream while watching a film entitled "Angels with Filthy Souls," which isn't actually a real film, believe it or not, folks. Everybody, but it's one that often pops up in films regarding detectives. Talking of which, that film actually popped up. That fake film actually popped up for one scene in Pokemon Detective Pikachu back in 2019.
Huh.
So here we go. So this is the thing regarding this one. The movie that Kevin watches on videotape is not a real movie, but footage specifically created. It was called Angels with Filthy Souls, along with similar era references in the movie. This is a play on Angels with Dirty Faces starring James Cagney. So, yeah, they actually managed to create a film within a film.
Genius.
Absolute genius, Chris Columbus. Absolute genius. But But there is another thing regarding Catherine O'Hara. There is another thing regarding Catherine O'Hara, because she said she revealed in an interview in 2014 that Macaulay Culkin still called her mum at the time. So I wonder if he still does that today.
Just for the banter, maybe.
Who knows? But it's the moment when he shouts for his mum. The point where in The Angels with Filthy Souls, Tommy Gunn, keep the change, you filthy animal. And people often misconceive that as the line "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal," which doesn't actually show up until the sequel.
Yeah.
But yet people associate that line with the first film in much the same way they misconceive the "I am your father" line from Empire Strikes Back as "Luke, I am your father," when it's actually "No, I am your father."
And E.T. phone home when it was just E.T. home phone.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah.
I used to be a bit. I used to do a small homage to Home Alone, and whenever I was playing GTA 5 online on Christmas Day, I used to always kill random people with a Tommy gun, and then I would then message in the game, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal."
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I bet you any money you're not the only one that's come up with that idea.
Probably not, but some people message back saying haha and stuff like that, so they understand the reference.
Yeah, I would have probably done the same. I would have probably done the same.
Yeah.
So while they're trying to work out, while they're trying to get, anyway, back in Paris, once they get to the airport, they're trying to call the police in. They're trying to call the Chicago police, which is where the family's based, to try and get somebody to go over to the to go over to their house to check that he's okay. And then when Kate gets transferred to the family crisis line, things like ingested anything, yada yada yada, this, that, and the other. She's just like, no, he's just so home alone, and and I was actually thinking to myself, even outside of horror movies, the authorities are so incompetent.
Fun fact: the man sergeant that was on the phone, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
He was actually in a few films. He's been in a few films himself. Have you ever seen Breaking Bad? He was the junkyard man.
Oh, so he's been in Breaking Bad, one of the most critically acclaimed TV series of all time. Nice.
He was also in My Name Is Earl in an episode.
Okay.
He was the old guy. There are some films he's been in before, but I just can't name them specifically. Off the top of my head, anyway.
Yeah, but
he's been in a few stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's But yeah, so they actually eventually they do manage to get somebody to go check if Kevin is okay. And this is all while at the same time they the wet bandits decide to have a little nosy around the neighborhood. And this is where we get introduced to Marv for the first time, portrayed by Daniel Stern. And I would say out of the two, I would say Marv is my favorite out of the two bandits.
Yeah. Hey, can I just say something about you mentioned the incompetence of the police officers. Well, the one that actually went to the house, the lights are on. He knocks on the door once or twice. and then just assumes that he's not there.
Yeah,
When
they
they-
don't.
when
They don't think to actually, oh, I don't know, open the door and
Yeah.
actually go to check.
Or open the door, shouting, "It's the police" or something like that. Like, nah, movies.
But then in saying that, if they, but then in saying that, it would have been a very, it would have been a very, it would have been a much shorter film than what we actually got.
You know those
And
parodies on YouTube where it's like, well, what if it was real? It'd be like, hello kid, police officer, credits.
yeah, I say, and actually, actually about that. In early August 2019, the new owners of 20th Century Fox, the Walt Disney Company, announced that this movie would be one of the first batch of existing Fox movies to be remade, intended for the Disney Plus streaming service.
Yeah.
And they actually did it. It was Home Sweet Home Alone, and I am much like Chicken Little. I'm dreading covering this one because I mean, how many Home Alone films do you need?
It's a Ghostbusters 2016 for me. I'm refusing to watch it.
Good, because Ghostbusters Afterlife completely ignores it.
Yes, which I like because Ghost Afterlife was so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. 2016 is not canon, folks.
So,
Pretend it does not exist.
so in my life, I have seen Home Alone 3, but that's when I was a little kid and thought it was decent, but it wasn't. Home Alone franchise dies after 2.
Yes, I mean, I thought the third film was okay for the most part. It did have one or two moments here and there, but it was when they got to number 4, I just thought, oh no, why?
It's like a Terminator where the first 2 are great, so they keep adding more to go off on that.
Yeah, they just do not know when to end film franchises.
End it after the second best one.
Yeah, but anyway, back to Daniel Stern for a moment. What else has he been in? He was the narrator in an episode of Family Guy at one point. The voice of Dilbert for a while as well. He was in an episode of Hey Arnold as Mr. Pakenham. Yes, that is how the name is actually pronounced.
It's been a long time since I've seen Hey Arnold.
Yeah, he was Kevin Arnold and the voice of the narrator in The Wonder Years between 1988 and 1993. He was also the narrator on The Simpsons at one point in 1991 as well. He was Leon in an episode of Comedy Factory in 1986. He also had a few episodes as Joey Nathan in Hometown in 1985. One of his earliest role was back in 1979. He was Cyril in Breaking Away. But I mean, if we thought the authorities were so incompetent, oh boy, that's nothing compared to Harry and Marv.
You did again, Marv, didn't you?
Yeah, leaving the water running. Yeah, which comes back to bite them quite badly towards the end of the film. But yeah. But yeah. So there reaches a point where where Kevin actually confronts the Wet Bandits, and that's after he recognizes Harry, thanks to his golden tooth.
It took me a lot of times watching it to figure out that the guy at the start wasn't a real policeman.
Yeah,
it took me ages to figure that
out. That was the same in my case as well.
Yeah.
But that being said, though, there is one particular point where when they do actually confront each other, you've got Harry and Marv, they're just bickering amongst each other. And this is after Kevin has he ends up face to face with Marley at a shop where he was going to get a toothbrush, where he tried to find out if it was approved by the
American Dental Association or something like that.
that's the one. Yep. It says here when Kevin asks the shop owner if the toothbrush is approved by the American Dental Association, she inspects it and instead she says, "I don't know, hon. It doesn't say." The ADA seal has been applied to products such as toothbrushes since 1931. She was looking for a seal and should have told him if the seal wasn't there, it wasn't approved. So,
see, one thing I always wonder about that particular scene is that over Marley, right? They pan the camera to his bandaged hand, but they never explain how he got it or how it happened.
that's a valid point. Yeah, they never explain how he got it. Yeah.
Even though the camera panned to it. And I'm like, well, explain, please. Closure. We need closure.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. I'll say there were a number of names. There were a number of names that were considered for various roles. So I'll just go through some of them. We'll go through some of them just now. Danny DeVito was originally considered for the role of Harry, as well as
I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and interestingly, Dudley Moore and Phil Collins were also considered for the role as well.
Phil
Now-
Collins Genesis.
I can only assume that I can only assume that's the Phil Collins in question.
Has he ever acted in his life?
Pretty sure he has. Pretty sure he has.
I mean, I know he did the soundtrack for Tarzan, but that was like 9 years there.
Yeah, 1999 and Brother Bear in 2003.
Oh wait, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, he has done. Yeah, he has done. He has been there previously. He has been in films previously.
I could just imagine him being Harry when when Harry does all the mumbling when he.
Yeah.
I could just see Phil Collins when he does it. He's saying almost to himself, says studio.
Yeah. That's it. But yeah, Phil Collins has actually got acting credits to his name. He was Buster Edwards in Buster in 1988, where he also helped with providing some of the soundtrack for that. He was Inspector Good in Hook in 1991.
I've never seen Hook all the way through, so I have no knowledge of characters apart from Hook, obviously.
Yeah, that's it. He was the voice of Muck and Luck in Balto in 1995. He was also the voice of Lucky in The Jungle Book 2 in 2003. But one role, but one film you'll be very surprised to hear that he was actually in. He had the role of a Bulgarian child in 1968 in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Phil Collins was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No way.
Yeah, every day's a school day, I guess.
That's another one I haven't seen in years. I used to hate it because I used to hate musicals, but then I grew up to like it.
Yeah, you say around. I mean, even I'm pleasantly surprised that he was in that film. So yeah, but like I say, every day's a school day. That's it. Other names that were considered for the role of Harry. Here's the full list. So bear with me, folks. This one's gonna take a while. Joe Pesci wasn't the first choice for the role of Harry. Interestingly, many other actors were considered for the role, including Robert De Niro, John Lovitz, Christopher Lloyd, Bob Hoskins, Dudley Moore, Phil Collins, Danny DeVito, Kevin Pollak, Rowan Atkinson, Michael Biehn, James Caan, Kevin Kline, Tommy Lee Jones, Ray Romano, Jackson John Stamos, Brad Garrett, Gene Hackman, and Kurt Russell.
So yeah, out of all those names,
a lot of names there.
Out of all those names, I could probably say like 3 people that would be relatively okay at being Harry.
Okay.
Robert De Niro, I'm not sure. He's a bit of a hit or miss. But I think Danny DeVito might be a good one because he's got a similar voice-ish to Harry-ish.
True. Yeah. I mean, Danny DeVito would have been a great fit for the role as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But of course, Danny DeVito would end up in, he would end up making an appearance in The Kingdom of Isolation as the voice of Phil in Hercules, my favorite Disney film of all time, ladies and gentlemen. Episode you can find in the top right of your screens in the Kingdom of Isolation playlist. Shameless plug aside.
That's Phil's boy.
Indeed. So anyway, other names that were considered for other roles. There was a number of names that were considered for the role of Marv. Interestingly, so I'll see if I can. I'll say there was a couple of big names. Michael Richards and Christopher Lloyd were considered for the role of Marv, but they were too busy with other projects at the time. Christopher Lloyd, of course, being busy with wrapping up the Back to the Future trilogy as Doc Brown alongside Marty McFly. Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly.
Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, he's fantastic. But Christopher Lloyd's also been in a couple of Disney films previously, one of them being Judge Doom in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Was he not voicing something as well in the newer ones, or more modern, or am I thinking of something totally different?
Possibly. He might have been a voice actor in something else previously. But anyway. I'll go through Christopher Lloyd's resume when I do eventually get around to covering Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That's another one.
Yeah, because I remember the first time watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Because it all started off as a cartoon, and I was just laughing so much as a kid.
And, even though I haven't seen all of it, but my favorite scene is the duck off between Donald and Daffy in the piano.
Yes, that was brilliant.
Did anyone understand what the dog is saying?
But anyway, also, another name that was considered. Another name that was considered for the role of Harry was Alan Rickman.
Ooh. Snape himself.
Yes.
He would have just came off Die Hard.
Indeed, he did. Yeah, he actually worked alongside Macaulay Culkin's aunt, Bonnie Bedelia, on that film as well. The role for Marv, meanwhile, that was written with Daniel Stern in mind, and as I said, Michael Richards was also considered for the role. For Peter McAllister, for Peter McAllister, oh boy, we got another big list of names, so bear with me.
I bet you anyway Tom Hanks is on
there. Possibly. Anyway, let's have a look and see the names that were considered for the role of Peter McAllister. Michael Douglas, Kevin Costner, Martin Sheen, Dan Aykroyd, Charles Grodin, John Travolta, Nathan Lane, Tom Skerritt, Bill Murray, Jim Belushi, Kevin Chase, Harrison Ford, Tom Hanks, Sean Penn, Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, Christopher Lloyd, Rick Moranis, Dennis Quaid, Jack Nicholson, John Goodman, Robin Williams, Marklin Baker, Steve Martin, Alan Thicke, Bruce Willis, Tony Danza, Dave Thomas, Robert Hayes, John Ritter, Ed O'Neill, Jeff Daniels, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. All those names were considered for the role of Peter McAllister. So yes, Tom Hanks was on that list!
Thank you. I totally get it. John Goodman.
Unbelievable.
John Goodman would have been.
Yeah, John Goodman could have worked. Tom Hanks as Peter McAllister, though.
No, Peter McAllister is quite the I wouldn't say quiet, but quite
reserved.
A voice of reason, to say that in a way. So I think Tom Hanks would be kind of.
I think based on that, Tom Hanks could have worked.
Yeah. But then again, you don't see much of Kevin's dad throughout the film. So would they have bothered with Tom Hanks, given that he's such a big actor at the time?
That is a valid point. That's a
Because
valid point because
I would
originally,
have guessed that he would have wanted a bit of money, and obviously, yeah.
oh yeah, of course, yeah. Especially after just coming off big in 1988.
All right.
The interesting thing is, the movie was originally going to have more scenes of the family in Paris, but test audiences just wanted to get back to Kevin. So there we go.
Well, the test audiences kind of worked for it, so.
Yeah. I'll say it's one of those examples of the test audiences.
I've always wanted to be a test audience to a film or anything. I, I would like to give my opinion on what I think this movie is, and then see if they'll sort out or anything like that.
Of that would honestly be really cool if we got to do that. But anyway, so there's all manner of hijinks. There's all manner of hijinks on Kevin's end. But while all that's going on, Kate decides to stay at the airport to try and get a flight back to Chicago to get back to her son. Because that's all she's focused on right now. That's all she's focused on. While the rest of the family are at Uncle Rob's apartment in Paris. And they are watching It's a Wonderful Life. And of course, with them being in Paris, the film's in French. So I can't understand. So I can't understand a word the characters are saying.
Except George, you can hear George quite clearly for some reason.
Yeah, you can hear them, but at the same time, you just can't understand what they're saying because, like I say, they're speaking in French.
Yep.
But yeah, after watching it for the first time back in 2015 for me, It's a Wonderful Life is definitely up there as one of my favorite Christmas films. Alongside this and The Muppet Christmas Carol as well. So I would definitely say those are my top 3 favorite Christmas films of all time. Not sure how I'd rank them at the moment, but I'll probably do a separate video outside of the Kingdom of Isolation, going through my 10 favorite Christmas films.
In terms of old films, I do like Miracle on 34th
Street.
Yeah.
Which has been like I said, that film's actually been remade a couple of times.
I like the very original though. It just has a more Christmassy spirit, it feels like.
Very true, yeah. But the one a lot of people will be most familiar with will be the one that has Mara Wilson, who was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda, and Richard Attenborough. So this is.
I remember, this is kind of off topic, but it's funny. I remember seeing this like, what would movies be like in Christmas if it was done by Scottish people? And you know that scene in The Wonderful Life where the guy's running through the street saying "Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas," all that.
Yeah.
Well, the guy's going "Merry Christmas," no, Happy New Year, and it's Christmas Day. Yeah, I'll keep bam.
Oh, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah. So like I say, there's all manner of hijinks happening with Kevin.
Can I just ask one random thing? Does Jingle All the Way rank in your top list of Christmas songs?
Well, that's one I've not actually got round to watching yet. But rest assured, I'm definitely going to be busy getting my rest assured, I'm definitely going to be busy getting my Christmas films list put together. Nightmare Before Christmas, that's definitely going to be in that top 10, definitely. Because the thing is, with the Nightmare Before Christmas, you can actually watch that at Halloween and at Christmas. It works for both holidays.
In Die Hard, you can watch all year round and Christmas.
Yeah, Bruce Willis actually confirmed himself that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It just so happens to be.
It is a Christmas movie. It says "ho ho ho" on the gun.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
But anyway. But like I say, all manner of hijinks, including like various ways Kevin is trying to stop people from getting in, stop Marv and Harry from getting into the house, including having all these mannequin blow up dolls, and you've got this like cutout of Michael Jordan on a train track. It's let's see, he does.
It's the 90s. So Jordan was the top basketballer.
Yeah, but of course Michael Jordan, because with the film, I would assume the film would have been shot in late 89, early 1990. I would assume around about then. But at the same time, Michael Jordan wouldn't have won his first NBA championship until 1991, I believe. I'm a basketball fan and I should know this stuff. Yep, Chicago
Maybe
Bulls. Yep,
maybe
Chicago Bulls,
Jordan was just the
1991.
more advertisement figure of the Bulls.
That's true. That's true. He was like the face of the Chicago Bulls franchise. To the point where he managed to get Finals MVP numerous times throughout his career.
They couldn't have used Shaquille O'Neal because the cutout would have been too big and he would have got suspicious.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah, that is a valid point. Yeah.
Humorous there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, so yeah. So the interesting thing with Michael Jordan, 6 NBA championships, and in each of those championships, he got this. So the 6 years that the Chicago Bulls won the NBA championship, Michael Jordan also got the Finals MVP in each of those 6 years. Interestingly, so fair play to him. And Michael Jordan actually made the All Rookie First Team back in 1985, and he was Rookie of the Year that season in 84-85. He was Rookie of the Year that season as well. So if you're winning Rookie of the Year, then that surely has to set you up for greatness in your NBA career.
Oh. And he also teamed up with the Looney Tunes, so he's got that big factor.
Space Jam, yes. Shame I can't cover that in the series because that film's owned by Warner Brothers. But push coming to shove, I might do a retrospective on Space Jam anyway. But yeah, anyway. Well, sorry.
We're at the part where he's making the house look like there's people in it.
Yes, that's yeah. He's it's the moment where he's cutting like the top part of a Christmas tree off, decorating it, and then he spots somebody in the reflection of the bauble in the window, calls for his dad, and then it's at that point that they realize that Marv and Harry realize, he's home alone. and it's
yeah. I think we skipped a funny part where it's like Marv comes to the back door and then he puts on that film again. Snakes? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that is brilliant.
1, 2, 10.
Yeah, with all those firecrackers, might I add, folks.
Yeah.
I'm going.
And of course, Marv says he's heard the name Snakes before, but he gets the impression that he might have seen that film before previously.
I've always wondered that. Yeah. It's just plain.
Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, it was but yeah, meanwhile, Kate is back stateside, but not quite at Chicago just yet, because it turns because
Where the hell is she? Scranton.
yeah, she had been awake for 60 hours, Chicago to Paris to Dallas to Scranton in Pennsylvania, and she's just like, God, I'm trying to get home to my son. And it's at that point we get introduced to the Polka King himself, the late John Candy. Now, John has had a pretty extensive career, much like a couple of the others.
He's been in so many good films.
Oh, absolutely. Where do we even begin? Let's say he was gone. He was gone way too soon. Died only at the age of 43. But like I said, he's had a lot of very, very well known roles. He's had a couple of Disney projects previously. One of them being Irv, Irv in Cool Runnings in 1993, and he made an appearance in the Kingdom of Isolation previously as the voice of Wilbur in The Rescuers Down Under.
That's one film I haven't seen.
Yeah,
he was in Splash. He was in Uncle Buck with Macaulay Culkin.
Yes, he was. He was in Spaceballs in 1987. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's a film that my family always detest because they think it's rubbish. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I say that's alongside Steve Martin.
Oh, and Brewster's Millions. That's a good film.
Yes, Spike Nolan in 1985. He was the role of Spike Nolan in 1985. Yep. There he is. Splash in 1984. National Lampoon's Vacation in 1983.
Some baseball movie as well, which I can't remember, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, wait, no, I think that was Brewster's Millions. I think that. My bad.
Rookie of the Year in 1993.
Oh, right.
Woohoo! Another film on Disney Plus, and it's a sports film. Yes! Those that know me well, I love my sports films. Armed and Dangerous, Little Shop of Horrors as well. How's about that? Feed me, Seymour. I will say, I've seen Little Shop of Horrors on stage, and it is a fantastic show. If you guys haven't had a chance to go around to seeing it yet, but yeah, a very, very strong career. He's had, but like I say, taken way too soon. He was even on Saturday Night Live at one point as well.
Yeah, but another one gone too soon. Good one. Too soon.
Yeah, as like I say, gone at just the age of 43.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah, let's say he's let's see whereabouts. Gus Polinski is the name of his character. He's with his polka band. They've been having a bit of travel issues as well, but they managed to rent out a van that's going to get them to their next destination, and they actually offer to drive Kate to Chicago to get her home, and to say Kate was really grateful at that point would be a bit of an understatement, especially given the fact that, like I say, she'd been up for 60 hours, which is 2.5 days. So yeah, being awake for 60 hours, yeah, I would not want to be in her position at that point.
I would have hated everything and anything at that point. Crankiness wise.
I think we would have all been in that position, some more than others, but I digress. Kevin goes to a church, which is the same church that we see earlier on in the film when he's trying to hide from the wet bandits. He manages to, he actually ends up talking to Marley. So yeah, and amazingly, tying into the maturity and professionalism that he's shown throughout the recorded process of the film. He's got a really strong head on his shoulders, giving advice to Marley to try and reestablish contact with his son. And yeah, it's.
I believe I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen it, but does he know mention is or hint as well that he knows that there's rumors about him?
He does. He does. Yes, he does. He does allude to that when he's having that conversation with Kevin. While they're listening to the choir singing. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what it is they're singing. I think it's "Oh Holy Night" that they're singing. Yeah, I think yeah they do sing "Oh Holy Night." That's the first one they sing, and then when they start singing the Carol of the Bells, I say they start singing that. When you watch the film often enough, as soon as you start hearing the Carol of the Bells start playing, and part of that is actually incorporated into the score for the film at this particular point, when Kevin has to get home as quickly as he can to get the traps set up for the showdown that we've all been waiting for.
I just had a comedic thought there, like because you know when the bells toll, that's when he's set up all the traps, and I'm like, well, Metallica should set in as "For Whom the Bells Toll."
That would honestly be so hilarious if they actually did that. But of course, I'm not even going to try and edit that in because copyright issues, and of course, it's freaking Metallica for crying out loud. But like I say, part of Carol of the Bells is incorporated into the score when you have that montage of Kevin setting up all the tracks. And he's about to tuck into his microwavable macaroni and cheese when the clock tolls for 9 o'clock.
You didn't get to have a bite. That's one thing that's always annoyed me.
Yeah, that actually begs the question: did he actually get around to eating it after dealing with Marv and Harry?
It would have been Stone Cold by then.
Most likely. But anyway, he cocks the BB gun that he's got. This is it. Don't get scared now. Yeah, it's showtime, folks. And this is where I go back to the back burner. Bring the traps. Bring that Home Alone fan theory into place. Yes, there's a very popular fan theory for those that may not know that here we go. So anyway, back to the whole thing about Disney remaking, Disney doing a Home Alone film. Fans of this movie joked that it would only be a short movie, as Kevin only needed to call using a mobile or cell phone. At the time, it was currently unknown if it would be a sequel or a reboot. And I'm actually going to check that just now. So I'm just going to double check. Is it a sequel or is it a reboot? Sixth film in the franchise. Is it a sequel? Is it a remake? It doesn't say anything about it being. Doesn't say anything about it being a sequel or a remake. Either way, film centers on a boy who is left behind at the time when a married couple planned to get inside, thinking he took a malformed doll that belonged to them. and it was released to negative reviews. I mean, I'm not surprised given the fact that it's the 6th film in the Home Alone franchise, and it worked perfectly fine after just 2. Why didn't they leave it at that? Anyway, back to. Anyway, additionally, it was unclear how Disney would approach the comedic violence, especially as many doctors have said the Wet Bandit's injuries would actually be life-threatening or fatal in reality.
Yeah, me. I watched a video. I watched a video on YouTube of like a doctor reacts to Home Alone injuries, and like it explains about what injuries, certain injuries,
what injuries it would be. Yeah,
this happened. Yeah.
Oh boy. But this is the part. This is the part that people are most intrigued by. One fan theory suggests that the character of Kevin grew up to become the character of Jigsaw in the Saw franchise. Yes,
I heard about that.
Yes, that fan theory. Kevin McAllister apparently becomes Jigsaw, and I'm pretty sure there's an interview somewhere where they actually talk about that theory.
There's the that I'm Jigsaw. That Kevin McAllister grew up to be Jigsaw from Saw. No, and that's how he learned.
I never heard that one.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
That theory does not. That theory wouldn't actually sound out of place. Because I mean, could you imagine if Kevin McAllister changed his name and went under the alias of John Kramer, which would that.
But there's also a reality.
This theory holds so much weight. It could actually be true.
Family Guy once did the parody, and it was like a.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I know where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah, watch out! There's some cars on the floor here. Huh, that's a bit different. Yeah, there was some ice on the floor. The door handle was really hot as well, but I just let go.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, guys know I have a tarantula.
Oh, but let's say, right. So let's. All right. Let's. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna try and go through this because I've actually got it in front of me right now. Because I'm gonna try and get through this in the order of when the traps were activated. So bear with me, folks. This might take a while. It all starts. The traps are activated as follows. Harry gets shot in the groin by the BB gun before Marv gets shot in the forehead after popping his head through the cat flap. Fires. Boom. Yeah.
Hans Moment presents man getting shot by BB gun.
Yeah, and if anything, I think we're all pretty thankful that they had A, stunt doubles, and B, props that wouldn't have actually legitimately that wouldn't have hang on.
I'm taking the point it was just an air gun where there was actually nothing that came out.
Yeah, I say they would have had something that would have caused. They would have had something. They would have also had the makeup and special effects department on hand to get all the damage that's inflicted on the bandits, especially on the hands and face, which we're going to get into in just a moment. For Marv in particular, because then so we've had the BB gun taken care of. So then you have Harry trying to go up the steps, which were soaked in water, that ended up freezing into ice. He tries to head up them, slips, lands on his back, I mean, this is the thing. it's a combination of you can't watch, but at the same time you can't not laugh because of the amount of pain that's being inflicted on the bandits.
Yeah.
Let's say they had stunt doubles for some of the more dangerous moments, such as Marv heading down the steps that lead to the basement. He slipped and it's just right, so that gets taken care of. Right. Now I'm trying to remember which of the two comes next.
It's Harry's door.
Harry with the scalding hot door handle. Oh dear. Yeah. That wouldn't leave that sort of burn. I think.
It's one of those traps that my mum can never look at because
Yeah.
it's so painful.
Yeah. Because you actually see you actually see the insignia, the M for McAllister, that's now effectively imprinted into Harry's hand at that point. And then you get and then, as we find out in the sequel, that M, although he puts it out with snow near the stairs, it inflicts a permanent scar in the shape of a capital M, which is seen in the sequel. And then Marv ends up getting an imprint on his face in the form of an iron, which he just blindly just pulls down, thinking it's a light switch.
A little bit of comedy before that is when he tries to, crowbar the door open. He has two shots.
And it turns out the door was unlocked. Yeah.
It's just a slow turn of the doorknob.
Yeah. Right, the next shot. So Harry decides to go round to the back, and it's just the yell he brings up when his head gets blowtorched.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's just standing there going. A small funny thing that my friend does is that every single December, 1st of December, he changes his Facebook profile picture to that picture of Harry getting his head blowtorched.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. And just when we thought Marv didn't have enough punishment inflicted on him, you've got the tar covered basement stairs.
I can never watch this because I hate it.
Yeah. So maybe I should have put a viewer discretion. Maybe I should have put a viewer discretion at the beginning of the at the start of the traps portion of this film, because these are pretty gnarly injuries that these guys sustain. So yeah, as comedic as they are, yeah.
Well, that's a curious thing. I wonder if, by any chance, Quiet Place, see a scene where she stepped on a nail on the stairs. Did that have an obvious to Home Alone? Because she was quiet, obviously.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah, I say, but the thing with the nail in the Quiet Place, that wasn't done intentionally. That was just brought up by accident.
Yeah, but Howard, being the wuss that he is, had to scream. she took it like a champ.
Yeah. That's because the tar and Marv's boots come off, then his socks come off. Takes one step, takes another, and then presses, and then his foot goes into the nail, and then he just falls back.
Yeah. Tetris style.
Oh dear. Yeah. The next track, let's say, but then just as a 1-2 sucker punch for Marv, he ends up slipping on the ice again after leaving the basement. Just as a 1-2 sucker punch. Yeah. So then you have Harry going into a plastic wrap covered in caulking glue, if that's what it's even called.
I think you're right. Yeah, caulking.
Yeah, caulking.
Yeah, is that stuff that you seal the sideboards? Sideboards? Is that what you call?
Yeah.
For the
yeah. It's basically sealant.
Yeah, that's it.
That's basically sealant. Yeah. Over here, that's sealant. Harry ended up with sealant on his face. And then the fan gets activated, and this is after Kevin sarcastically says, "Oh no, I'm really scared." To which Harry then responds, "Too late, we're already inside the house. Okay, come and get me now."
I don't know why, but I always laugh at that scene of him literally the fan when the fella's over him. Just
Yeah.
fact that he just stands here and takes it.
Yeah, yeah, because he then ends, because once that fan gets activated, boom, just this explosion of feathers, which then leads to another funny line in just a moment, and this is after, and then you get Marv, yeah, Marv stepping on some Christmas ornaments barefoot.
Grass, mind you.
Yeah, but interestingly, this is one of those cases where you had props that were made to avoid physically harming the
It was probably that thing called sugar glass.
Yes, yeah. The ornaments on which Marvel steps were actually candy.
Oh right. Man, I don't know which is worse. Candy that can actually be sharp or sugar glass, which
Yeah.
mind you, it was the 90s, so maybe sugar glass wasn't a thing.
Yeah, well, not until the late 90s anyway. So we got.
I'm gonna kill that kid.
I'm gonna kill that kid. But yeah, where are we? So then Marv and Harry actually come face to face after going through so much punishment. Harry, why the hell did you take your shoes off? Marv, why the hell are you dressed like a chicken? And then they both approaching the stairs, and they both slip on the micro machines that Kevin has. And
yeah, props to that. I'm assuming stunt folk for doing the style of
the stunt doubles, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to name the stunt doubles for these two, because they absolutely deserve a mention. But actually, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna go through the entire stunt team that helped put all of this together. You had Troy Brown, who helped with the stunts and was also Joe Pesci's stunt double. And Daniel Stern's stunt double was Leon Delaney. Some of the others that were involved were Freddie Heiss, who was the stunt coordinator, Tim Davison, Rick Lefevre, and Larry Nicholas, who was also the stunt double for Macaulay Culkin. Now you're probably wondering how was he the stunt double for Macaulay Culkin? Turns out Larry was very short at 30 years old. Manny Perry was also part of the stunts team, and William Purcell as well. So there you go. See, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you had 8 names. You had 8 names there, with 11 credits between them, because some of them doubled up as not just part of the stunt team, but also stunt doubles at the same time. So fair play. So say massive props to them for that. But then one of my personal favorite traps from this film. Heading up the stairs. Watch out for the paint cans! Harry shouts, heads up. Marv, woof, gets yeeted off by one of the cans, and then Harry gets yeeted off by the other one, knocking out his gold tooth in the process.
Oh, you're missing some teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, because it even says here, gets hit in the face, losing his cherished gold tooth in the process.
But a fun fact: there's actually a kind of modern horror movie, I believe, called Babysitter. I could be wrong, but it was about this kid that's jealous of the babysitter who he's fond of. So
I know exactly the film you want about, the one that's got Samara Weaving in it.
Possibly, yeah. And to kill the boyfriend, just to get him out of the picture, he literally tied him up in the middle of a chair, and then to quote the friend, "Are you home alone in him?" by throwing the paint cans off, and
dear.
hits him in the head, and obviously kills him. But obviously, we can't kill people in Home Alone.
No, because then that PG rating would end up being either a PG-13 or an R rating over in the States, which would then equate to probably a 15 over here in the UK. So then after that, they manage to get upstairs. Harry falls down after tripping on a wire and is knocked unconscious. Pleasant. And then this next bit is just possibly one of the best focus camera. Thank you. Possibly one of the best movie screams of all time. It's the scream Marv lets out when that tarantula is on his face.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably be the same place as Marv in terms of screaming, because spider in my face, no thank you.
Yeah, because here's the thing. The scream that Daniel Stern belts out during the tarantula scene was filmed live on set after Stern was assured by the animal handlers that tarantulas do not have ears. And this next part was confirmed by Stern himself in 2015 on his Facebook page. The tarantula's poison was not extracted as some have thought. So yeah.
Man, you took it like a champ, though. Anyway.
Yeah, true, but it's still the fun. Oh. It's I just honestly.
And then to add in something,
I can't not laugh when I hear him screaming like that.
It's because you don't expect him to come from a rubber or like that scream. So
especially for a scream like that.
Yeah. He kind of plays homage to it in Home Alone 2 when he's getting electrocuted.
Oh boy. And don't worry, folks. Next year's Christmas special is going to be Home Alone 2. So there we go. Anyway.
So anyway, the transfer goes on Harry afterwards.
Yes. to which Harry gets accidentally hit in the stomach with a crowbar by Marv, who's trying to kill the tarantula. and then Harry just takes the crowbar, just whacks Marv in the head. How do you like that, you jerk? Get the kid.
Oh, fun fact. Do you know that all that scenes where he's got hurt and he's mumbling, that's your fragile section?
Yeah.
It's because Joe Pesci is quite the swearer. So
he had to do that to avoid.
the
That's clever. Which for the cartoonists out there, you'd actually think he was trying to impersonate Muttley. I say, not with the laugh, but the son of
I know, but I did it. That's funny.
Yeah. So there's still a couple of there's only like one or two more. There's only one more trap that they go through, and that being the zip line, which Kevin somehow managed to get set up before they got there. Which actually begs the question: how long did it actually take him to get all those traps set up? Because it must have taken him more than just like a couple of hours, at least.
I think he started at 6 and finished at 9.
So he must have had about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think he must have taken about 3 hours, well, just under 3 hours to.
We're doing freezing cold then if it took that long for the water to turn into ice.
Yeah. Would water have frozen that quickly though?
But the one thing I always sense a bit, that zip line is your treehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one I'm most intrigued by how long it took him to get that one set up.
Also, it's a bit of a movie plot hole in a sort of way, but the treehouse is the same height as his window, so I don't think he would have the downward momentum to propel him.
That's a valid point.
And also,
I didn't even pick up on that.
The weight would surely bring it down a little bit, so there's no way you can have the force to go to have the comedic effect to get his legs to go through.
Which is probably why he would have. Had the end of the zip line a little lower down on the tree, probably.
Yeah. If he was to go forward, but I'm just using physics here. But there's no way that he would have been able to zip line into the actual treehouse itself.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
I poke holes, people.
Yeah. But anyway, then the bandits end up falling after swinging into a wall while attempting to use a rope to cross to Kevin's treehouse due to Kevin cutting the rope with hedge clippers. It's just that he has the hedge clippers. Hey guys, and then the bandits are just like, wait, go back, and then you're just too late, and then you just get that worms, bye bye, and you just go boom, face first into the wall. And while all that's happening, with all that, he ends up. Kevin manages to call the police to an address that his 656, I think it is, I believe.
His neighbor's house, basically.
Yeah, his neighbor's house, 656.
Which begs the question: why couldn't he phone the cops at his own house? Because he phoned the police in his house.
He phoned the police in his house for 656 rather than. That's a valid point. Maybe he didn't want any more damage inflicted on his house.
Yeah. My only theory, which now that I think about it more, doesn't really count, is that he wanted to have the police catch them at the place where the wet bandits have struck, like wetness. But I don't think. But then again, I'm thinking they wouldn't have known that. But then again, they did see him come out of that house on a drive.
Yeah.
So he might have known.
True. That's true. Anyway, so it all climaxes with the Wet Bandits having the water running, and the water ends up getting into the basement. The water getting into the basement. Kevin having to like wade through the basement, get up the stairs, and then, oh dear, the Wet Bandits are waiting for him at the top. How the turntables. They have him like just like hanging there, hanging on the coat hook, and they're gonna tell him what they're gonna do to him.
I'm going to burn his head with a blowtorch. I'm going to smash his face
with an iron. But the first thing he's gonna do is gonna bite off all his fingers one at a time.
Well, I heard something recently, actually. I read a bit of this. Is that to get the right effect, he had to. Joe Pesci was supposed to nibble his fingers, just a playful nibble.
Oh yeah.
But apparently he bit too hard and actually left a little scar on the finger. And apparently he still got that.
So apparently Culkin still has that scar to this day.
That's right. That's what the report says. I read.
Not sure if that was confirmed by. Not sure if that's been confirmed by Culkin himself. But anyway. But yeah. Then Marley decides to come in. He's got his shovel in hand. Whacks one, whacks the other, and that's it. They're out for the count. And Marley gets Kevin home, and just the big grin on Kevin's face at that point, seeing the bandits being put into the police car, and essentially being because apparently the cops have been looking for them for a while.
Yeah, you actually hear one policeman says, "And that nice job plugging the sinks after every hit. Now we know every house you've been to." And then you just get that Harry looking at Marv like, "Yeah, jerk.
You idiot!" Yeah. But yeah, it's so. But anyway, Kevin gets everything set up for Christmas Day with cookies, the milk, and things like that.
He prays for his family to come home. A little plot thing there.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call that a plot hole.
It's a little observation thing. I didn't mean plot hole.
Yeah, because let's see. But then Christmas morning comes around, and lo and behold, he ends up getting a white Christmas. Because of course there's a lot of snow falling outside his house. The truck truck or van or whatever it is, the transport that Kate's in with the polka band, drops Kate off at the house. Kevin's really excited, but nobody's there. But then, just like a few moments later, Kate comes into the house. Kevin hears her voice. She apologizes to him about what had happened, but at that point, Kevin wasn't concerned. He was just happy that his mum was back. And then, lo and behold, the flight she didn't want to get ended up arriving, and then the rest of the family come in, and people have actually timed this, and this is actually on the IMDb trivia page. So here we go. On the Home Alone Family Fun Edition DVD, and this is on the DVD commentary, folks. 26-year-old Macaulay Culkin and Chris Columbus, who was the director, both gave this piece of trivia on a commentary. In spite of Kate's objections, she would have been better off just waiting with the rest of the family, because as seen in the movie, she arrives not too long before the rest of the family arrives. Precisely 1 minute, 20 seconds.
Yep, I know. I've noticed that whole time, and something I've often said to my mum whenever we watch it.
Yeah. Making all that stress she went through trying to get back to her son a little bit meaningless.
But we wouldn't have had John Candy otherwise. So yeah.
That's true, and we wouldn't have had that wholesome moment of just Kevin and his mum just hugging each other. We wouldn't have had that wholesome moment either. But at the end of the day, Buzz is quite impressed with the fact that Kevin didn't burn the place down, but he's quite surprised as well at the fact that Kevin managed to go shopping. Which, by the way, folks, a potential reference to Christine. The cost of what Kevin buys, $19.83. Same year Christine came out.
Yeah.
So that could be a reference to Christine. It might not be.
Could it be? That could be a reference to many things, actually.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
84.
But yeah. Let's say it all climaxes with Kevin being happy that Marley has managed to reestablish contact with his son, daughter-in-law, and his granddaughter, who we saw earlier performing in the choir at the church earlier in the film. But then you hear Buzz just yelling, "Kevin, what did you do to my room?" And Kevin's just like, "I'm gonna head out of here." but yeah, overall, this is just a fantastic film all around. It's, as I said at the top of the episode, it is one of the best Christmas films out there. It's a firm staple of the Christmas schedules, especially over in Poland. The movie is considered a traditional Christmas movie in Poland. It has aired on national television during the primetime Christmas season every year since. Hang on. Sneezing fits. I hate when that happens. Anyway, the movie is considered a traditional Christmas movie in Poland. It has aired on national television during primetime Christmas season every year since 1990. In 2011, the movie aired on December 23rd with an audience of over 5 million, making it the most popular Christmas show aired during the Christmas season in Poland.
Yeah, interesting.
But that's nothing compared to a certain cheese-loving duo in the form of Wallace and Gromit. Because A Matter of Loaf and Death, which premiered in 2008, folks.
Yes, I remember that vividly.
Yeah, it aired on Christmas Day that year, and it became. So here we go. Here's the reception. So the program was watched by the most viewers of any program on Christmas Day. So it was the most viewed program of the day in 2008. Secured the largest Christmas Day audience in 5 years. I mean, come on. It's Wallace and Gromit. How can you go wrong with Wallace and Gromit? And it was also the most watched program of the entire year in 2008, with a peak average audience of 14.4 million people watching that Wallace and Gromit short that year. So how's about that, folks? Not only the most viewed program of the day, but also the most viewed program of that particular year. And when you have somebody like Wallace and Gromit being able to achieve something like that, that's when you know they're that's when you know it's a very good program. It's hard to believe that Wallace and Gromit are still popular even all these years later.
It's got a following. I mean, look at Mr. Bean. There's been nothing about him anytime soon, but it's one of the most popular things around the world.
Yeah, but I think Rowan Atkinson said he's now retired from portraying the role of Mr. Bean now, I think.
Yeah, well, Wallace and Gromit's not coming back because Wallace is dead.
Or the voice actor that played him. I mean, they
Yeah.
might get a new voice actor for him, but
That-
that remains to be seen, folks. That remains to be seen if they're going to make more Wallace and Gromit shorts with a new voice actor for Wallace. I mean, how are you going to be able to replace Peter
Well,
Sallis?
That's what I'm wondering. I think they'll leave it as is because Wallace, the actor who plays Wallace, was for many, many years.
Yeah,
So-
so right from the start.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, on to the scores for Home Alone. Now, of course, the scores work just the same as in the regular Kingdom of Isolation episodes. You've got five categories we'll be covering. We'll be covering the story, the characters, the visuals, the soundtrack, and the legacy of the film since it came out.
I don't want to steal Dead Meat's ideas, but we should have a golden trap and dull trap.
Oh, because what he did with the Saw films, the platinum punji sticks for the best trap and the rusty mouse trap for the worst one.
Yeah.
So, I think the platinum punji sticks for the best trap in this film. I'd have to give it. I've got to give it to the paint cans. I've got to give it to the paint cans on this one.
I think you're right.
I mean, I can't really think of anything else that can top the paint cans. Because if we're going to say one of those paint cans knocked out Harry's golden tooth.
That's true.
But then
Rusty Mousetrap, I would
Rusty
probably give
Mousetrap.
it to the glue feathers. Because they didn't really slow them down; they just kind of infuriate them.
Yeah, because I think that was more of an inconvenience rather than something that actually caused legitimate damage.
Or slowed them down at all.
Yeah. So yeah.
Funny.
So I definitely have to agree with you on that one. The sealant and the feathers that definitely has to that's definitely the. I wouldn't say the worst trap. I would say it's the weakest one of
weakest
of the film. But yeah. Anyway, so that aside, now we're going to get into the scores. So the story I gave a 9 on this one. It was really well written because it's John Hughes that wrote it. It was a really good story. Throughout, it had a great climax. It had a great build up. As well, a great ending. As well, not just for the main characters, but also for some of the more minor characters like Marley, as well, managing to reestablish contact with his son. So that was a really sweet moment there. But it's just the only thing I'm struggling to wrap my head around is how quickly Kevin managed to get those traps set up, because I think it would have taken him more than just that one night to be able to get those traps set up.
See, that's one of the reasons why I'm going to give this an 8, because the story is good, but there's just one too many plot holes in terms of like
Okay.
This shouldn't happen. There's no way this would happen. Like, I'm a bit of a strict person when it comes to scoring. So
Hey, fair play. Fair play.
Yeah.
Each to their own. Yeah, it's much like one of my friends, Michael, who I say he doesn't often give top marks for something, but when he does, it's for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
But the characters for me, I would definitely give the characters a 10 on this occasion, because it's I mean, as I say, much like the story, the characters are really well written. Harry and Marv are just so hilarious when they're on screen together. Just seeing the way they react to all the traps they encounter, all the pain that's being inflicted on them, and the reactions to said pain. It's just, I say, it's just absolutely fantastic throughout. I mean, but at the same time, though, there's not really much I can say that could potentially push the character's score up to an 11. So that's why I'm giving the score a 10 on this occasion.
yeah, I'm going to agree 10 because there's nothing wrong with the characters, which I can think of. So all the actors have been chosen wisely eventually.
With good casting choices, yeah.
Yep, and the ones that have no story at all, you barely hear them speak, which is kind of good in a way.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with the actors who do act and speak and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
those that are actually pivotal in the film's runtime.
Yeah, as you say, well written is what I'm trying to say as well.
Yeah. So the visuals I gave a 9 on this one. Now you're probably wondering, guys, how do I score the visuals if it's a live action film? How do I go about that? Well, I would definitely say this. I would say this film definitely captures the spirit of Christmas very well. Everything from the abundance of red and green throughout the film, and especially with some of the visual effects from on how the traps were done and the damage done to how you actually see the damage being done to him, especially the imprint of the iron on Marv's face. Probably one of the most iconic shots of the film. But at the same time, taking into account recent years with doctors saying that some of these all these traps could have some cause substantial injuries or potentially fatalities. I couldn't really see myself giving the visuals anything beyond a 9 for that reason, because how on earth were Disney going to cover the comedic violence that is so prevalent throughout the first 2 films, especially?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to grade this because the visuals are literally like there's no CGI involved or anything like that. So
no, everything's done practically.
yeah, so you would think you would score a 10 because it's literally everything's real.
Yeah, but at the same time, though.
Yeah. So I probably would give it a 9 because, yeah, what was I going to say? My mind just went blank all of a sudden.
I hate when that happens. Yeah.
I had a good thing to say, but my mind's just gone.
Yeah.
Nope. See it.
But yeah, actually, what are the traps? Well, say traps in the air quotes. The fact you've got is it when you have Marv just like whacking the crowbar on on Harry, I actually questioned, how is that not broken ribs? Because if you actually hit it hard enough, yeah, you could actually break 1 or 2 ribs.
Should have. But they probably did Titanic where it was like a rubber crowbar, but still.
They'd have probably done that. Yeah, that's probably what would have done. Yeah.
But
in much the same way with the bricks in Home Alone 2, The bricks would
Yeah.
have been probably been foam bricks, and they would have
Boom,
had the
stuff like that, yeah.
and they would have had the makeup department to um do the makeup with all the imprints of all the bricks hitting Marv's face, because yeah, that's definitely one of those traps that could easily kill you.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah. The soundtrack, I gave an 8 on this one. Now, the score as a whole is fantastic. I just feel a lot of it was like recycled throughout the film. They did have good choices of Christmas songs that were used throughout the film, as well as the Oscar-nominated "Somewhere in My Memory," which is a fantastic song if you haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. There's actually two different. You've got one that's got the second stanza in it that's actually featured on the film's soundtrack itself, compared to what we hear in the film. But like I said, as far as the score itself is concerned, I feel a lot of it was recycled a bit too much, and there wasn't much in the way of variety in the score. But I'm not going any higher for that reason. But at the same time, I'm not going any lower than an 8 because it's John Williams, and I am not disrespecting John Williams.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Like, an 8 for me as well, because yes, there are scores like the main theme at the start, which is classic. Like we all know that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, everybody knows that.
The fact that you say recycling does intrigue, because apart from rocking around the Christmas tree when he tries to distract the robbers, that's a song which is good. We like that. But then every other score, it seems a bit like it feels like it or sounds like it's distant to the film. Like it's way it seems like it's way in the background or something like that. And you're like, well, can we like it might sound like it works, but at the same time you're like, well, can we get a bit more oomph to it, loudness or something like that.
Yeah, like I said, can we get a bit more variety in the score?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing, we are heading into the legacy of the film, the lasting impact this film has had since it came out 32 years ago. Even just saying that makes me feel old.
I'm old.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact the Snowman on Channel 4 is 40 years old this year.
Ooh. But being Scottish, we all like the Iron Brew advert.
Ah, yes, yeah, that's always a good laugh. Yeah. So, but anyway, this is what we've got. So anyway, so first off, theatrical and home media releases. Premiered in Chicago on November 10th, 1990, and it was given a wide release on November 16th. First released on VHS and Laserdisc. The Laserdisc was like before DVDs were a thing. Because if you compare the size of a Laserdisc compared to the size of a DVD, the Laserdiscs were pretty substantial in size. And that was on August 22nd, 1991. The first video to go direct to sell-through rather than to the video rental market first. Sold 11 million copies, generating revenue of $150 million, making it, alongside E.T., the highest selling video of all time at that point. And due to the sales, the film did not perform as well in the rental market. It was later released on DVD on October 5th, 1999 as a basic package. The film was released on Blu-ray on December 2nd, 2008, titled The Family Fun Edition, and was released alongside Home Alone 2 Lost in New York in a collector pack on October 5th, 2010. And it was reissued again on DVD and Blu-ray on October 26th, 2015, alongside all 4 of its sequels in a box titled The Home Alone 25th Anniversary Ultimate Collector's Christmas Edition. Good Lord, that's a mouthful. And on September 15th, 2020, Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment and 20th Century Studios Home Entertainment released Home Alone on Ultra HD Blu-ray in time for its 30th anniversary in the USA. The box office earnings, the film managed to get $285 million in the US, with $190 million elsewhere, giving it a grand total of $476 million against a budget of $18 million. In its opening weekend, Home Alone grossed $17 million from 1,202 theaters, averaging $14,211 per site, and just 6% of the final total, and added screens over the next 6 weeks, with a peak screen count of 2,174 during its 8th weekend at the start of January 1991. Home Alone was the number one film at the box office for 12 consecutive weeks from its release of November 16th to the 18th, 1990, through to the weekend of February 1st to 3rd, 1991. It was removed from the top spot when Sleeping with the Enemy opened with 13 million. It remained in the top 10 until the weekend of April 26th, well past Easter weekend. It made 2 more appearances in the top 10, the weekend of May 31st to June 2nd, and the weekend of June 14th to 16th, before finally falling out of the top 10. After over 9 months into its run, the film had earned 16 times its debut weekend and ended up with a final gross of $285,761,243 million. Hang on. $285,761,243. The top grossing film of its year in North America. The film was listed in the Guinness World Records as the highest grossing live action comedy ever, and it held that record until it was overtaken by The Hangover Part 2 in 2011. By the time the film had run its course in theaters, Home Alone was the 3rd highest grossing film of all time worldwide, as well as in the United States and Canada, behind only Star Wars, which at the time had 322 million, and E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which had 399 million. According to the home video box, the Box Office Mojo estimates the film sold over 67.7 million tickets in the United States. It was also the highest grossing Christmas film until it was surpassed by Dr. Seuss's The Grinch in 2018. The film made Culkin a child star. There we go. So that's all we got in the box office. The critical reception, 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Cinema score, an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. Home Alone gradually became a Christmas classic. It was praised for its quotable phrases, morals, traps, and main character. Hannah Rose Yee of Stylist called the ending very sweet and praised the score from John Williams, calling it fantastic. Christopher Houghton of The Independent also praised the film, calling the film within a film, Angels with Filthy Souls, a fond footnote in cinema history. Matt Talbot from Simco.com said that the Wet Bandits were fantastic and never got old on repeat viewings. And he's not wrong on that assessment. Michael Walsh of Nerdist noted the church scene as one of the best and most touching scenes in the film. And as I mentioned earlier, Home Alone remains highly popular Christmas movie in Poland when it's played on Polsat every Christmas Eve. In 2010, Polsat did not play Home Alone, which caused over 90,000 people to protest on Facebook. In 2016, over 4.44 Poles tuned in to Polsat to watch Home Alone. Since the 2010s, its TV trailers even include a tagline that acknowledges this popularity. Christmas without him? It's absolutely impossible. Julio Macat, the film's cinematographer, considers Home Alone one of his favorite films out of all the projects he has shot. It was his favorite It was the favorite US film of US President Gerald Ford. Interesting. The accolades, so I've already gone through the Oscar nominations it got. 2 Golden Globes as well. Nominated for a Grammy as well. And in the Young Artist Awards, it got Most Entertaining Family Youth Motion Picture for Comedy or Action, and it managed to win Young Actor Starring in a Motion Picture, and that was Macaulay Culkin. Angela Goethals, who was one of Kevin McAllister's sisters, played was nominated for Best Young Actress Supporting Role in a Motion Picture. And here come the accusations of plagiarism, ladies and gentlemen. The 1989 French horror thriller film 3615 Code Pierre Noël, which is about a young boy who is home alone with his elderly grandfather and has to fend off a home invader dressed up as Santa Claus, has been noted for its plot similarities to Home Alone. The film's director, Renee Manzer, threatened the producers of Home Alone with legal action on the grounds of plagiarism, alleging that Home Alone was a remake of the film. The film was not released in the United States during its original theatrical run in January 1990 and did not become widely available until 2018. Interesting. The homages. Oh boy, here we go. There is a lot. The music video for Snoop Dogg's 1994 song Gin and Juice opens with a gag where, after a teenaged Snoop's parents have left him to watch the house in their absence, he places his hands to his face and yells in the manner of Kevin McAllister in the first film, while a title comes on screen reading Homeboy Alone. In December 2015, Culkin reprised his role as an adult Kevin McAllister in the inaugural episode of the Jack Dishel web series Dry VRS, where a visibly disturbed Kevin recounts his experience after being left home alone by his family. In response to Culkin's video, Daniel Stern appeared in a short video reprising his role as Marv, released in conjunction with Stern's Reddit AMA, where he pleads for Harry to return to help protect him against Kevin's traps. The 2016 Christmas set horror film Better Watch Out includes a scene where a character who is obsessed with Home Alone demonstrates how, in real life, it would be deadly for someone to be hit in the face with a paint can swung from a distance. On December 15, 2018, Culkin made a guest appearance as himself on an episode of The Angry Video Game Nerd to review multiple video game adaptations of the first 2 Home Alone films, as well as a gameplay session of The Page Master with James Rolfe and Mike Matty in the days following that episode's release. On December 19, 2018, Culkin would once again reprise his role as an adult Kevin McAllister in a 60-second advertisement for Google Assistant titled Home Alone Again. The commercial contains shot-for-shot remakes of scenes from the film. Google Assistant helps Kevin set up the house to look active by remotely turning on lights, devices, and setting up cutouts of people to have the thieves parked in a van outside, presumably Harry and Marv, steer clear of the house. Additionally, Joe Pesci also reprised his role as Harry, only for his voice making a small cameo. Pesci later appeared in another ad where he watches the short with his friends and jokes about his brief cameo. And then we get into the sequels. You have Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. You got Home Alone 3, Home Alone 4, which was the first direct-to-video one. Then you have a 5th Home Alone film. Well, the 4th film was subtitled Taking Back the House, which had Missy Pyle in it. Interestingly, as one of the bandits. Home Alone 3 also had Scarlett Johansson pre-Black Widow, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no way. Didn't know.
And then you've got The Holiday Heist, which premiered during ABC's Family Countdown to 25 Days of Christmas programming event on November 25th. Similarly to the 3rd film, it did not focus on the McAllister family. Chris Columbus later revealed that there had been discussions on a sequel starring Kevin's son. This was talked about maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. We were just having fun with it. And we said, what if Kevin is an adult and he has a kid? But it was still Pesci and Stern but it was still Pesci and Stern. Pesci and Stern are still obsessed with this kid. They're going to get this kid, and then you've got the Disney Plus one, Home Sweet Home Alone, with Darren Rattray, who played Buzz McAllister in the first 2 films. He actually reprised his role in this film. Interesting. But taking everything into account, I gave The Legacy a 10 on this one, because as I said, that taking all that into account, alongside the fact that it's a firm staple of the Christmas schedules here in the UK, especially. So yeah, I've got to give this one a 10.
Yeah, I have to give it a 10 as well, because it's just so well known.
Yeah.
And over the course of 30 years, and people still watch it to this day. And as you could say about most of the films, and like you said about Poland, where it's a tradition to watch it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So taking all the scores into account, the film has a final score of 91%, which in terms of the specials scoreboard, it actually puts it ahead of Mary Poppins and The Nightmare Before Christmas, but not ahead of The Muppet Christmas Carol, which still stands top of the special scoreboard with 101% at the moment.
That's another one where I just haven't watched.
Yeah. So
I was never really a Muppets fan.
Yeah. So
The burst of bubble. That's me.
yes, I'm sure we can get that. Sorted in due course. But anyway, at the end of the day, this is a great Christmas film. If you haven't had a chance to see it yet, or if you've got kids, definitely watch this with them. And let's just say those kids are going to be in for a treat, because they're going to be laughing so much at all the traps and all the pain and misery the White Bandits are going to be enduring. So there we go. There's that. So Jamie, thanks for coming along to help me cover this Christmas special. I'll be looking forward to getting you back on board in the near future.
No worries. Happy to help out.
Yeah. And a big thanks to you guys as well for watching this Christmas special at home. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to be part of the Kingdom of Isolation yourself, you can hit the subscribe button down at the bottom. Click the bell, turn on notifications so you don't miss when an episode goes live. As mentioned at the top of the broadcast, I'm going to be getting a backlog of episodes edited and uploaded. So I've still got Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis, and Treasure Planet to edit. I've still to get Lilo and Stitch recorded as well, but I should hopefully get those done over the course of the next week. And stay tuned on New Year's Day, folks, because I'm going to be doing a special video with an outline of the plans I have in place for the Kingdom of Isolation in 2023, because next year marks 100 years of Walt Disney Animation Studios. So I'm looking to make next year the biggest year in the Kingdom of Isolation to celebrate this huge milestone. And as a little treat for you guys, I'm going to have 2 specials for the anniversary this year, because I'm going to have one just talking about our favorite Disney films, and I'm going to have another one talking about our favorite Pixar films. So you're getting 2 anniversary specials this year, you lucky people. But until then, folks, we will see you guys next time in the Kingdom of Isolation.
Bye.